You wake slowly, drifting upward through warm layers of sleep. For a moment, your mind is weightless, empty, neither dreaming nor waking. Then, the world settles around you, soft and quiet. You feel it first against your skin, the heavy drape of silk sheets pooled around your waist, cool and smooth, carrying the faint scent of lavender sachets tucked between the folds. Beneath you, the mattress yields with a muted sigh, stuffed with down feathers and laid over carved oak slats. Above, a canopy of deep crimson velvet filters the early morning light into a hushed golden glow. Your eyes flutter open. The chamber is vast yet silent. Sunlight seeps through embroidered curtains, illuminating dust motes dancing lazily in the still air. Somewhere outside, a sparrow calls, its song echoing against ancient stone walls. You turn your head slightly on the pillow, feeling the ache of sleep lingering in your muscles. Beyond the parted curtains of your bed, you glimpse movement, shadows shifting on polished flagstones. A figure approaches with bowed head, footsteps muffled by thick rush mats. The servant carries a silver ewer of warm water, steam curling into the chilled morning air. You notice your breath, slow, calm, steady. Inhale, and the scent of beeswax polish and faint wood smoke fills your lungs. Exhale, and your chest softens into the featherbed, sinking deeper with each gentle breath. Somewhere in your mind, a truth begins to take shape. This is not your familiar room. This is no modern life of flickering phone screens and quiet apartments. Here, everything feels heavier. The sheets, the silence, the invisible expectation pressing down on your chest. You are not just waking in a castle chamber. You are waking as royalty, a king or queen. In a world where your word is law and your choices ripple outwards like stones cast into a dark lake. But for this quiet moment, before the world's demands come knocking, you let yourself rest. You feel the silk against your arms, hear the quiet crackle of the hearth, taste the faint dryness in your throat that soon will be quenched with honeyed wine. Breathe in, and let the golden morning hold you softly, like a promise waiting to be fulfilled. Your breath deepens as you lie still, listening to the sounds beyond the crimson canopy. A faint rustle of fabric, the muted clink of metal against porcelain. Someone draws back the curtains with careful, practiced hands. Pale golden light spills over your face, warming your closed eyelids until you blink them open. Two attendants stand waiting. Their heads are bowed so low you can barely see their faces beneath linen coifs. One carries a folded length of fine linen, embroidered with tiny golden threads that catch the morning light. The other holds a basin of steaming water, the scent of rosemary and sage rising with the curling vapor. They do not speak. Words are not required. You sit up slowly, silk sheets sliding from your shoulders, and feel the slight chill of dawn air brush across your skin. Goosebumps ripple down your arms, despite the warmth radiating from the stone hearth nearby, where a small fire crackles and pops. Your under tunic is removed and replaced with a fresh linen garment. Its coolness soothes your skin as they slip it down over your arms. Layer upon layer follows, a heavier tunic of dark red wool, lined with sable fur around the collar and sleeves. Then the outer surcoat is draped over your shoulders, deep blue velvet embroidered with golden griffins that twist and coil in elegant patterns down your chest. The fabric alone is worth more than a peasant family's yearly income. Your attendants work silently, adjusting folds, smoothing seams, tightening laces, and securing small metal clasps with deft fingers. You catch the scent of lavender and old wood lingering in their clothes as they move around you. Occasionally, one glances up to check your expression, eyes flicking quickly away again. Their faces are careful masks of neutrality, but you sense something beneath, perhaps fear or awe or simple exhaustion. They have been awake since before dawn, preparing your clothes, heating your water, ensuring that nothing delays the routine of royalty. The final layer is clasped into place, an outer robe of thick wool trimmed with fox fur, lined in pale blue silk. The robe feels heavy on your shoulders, like the weight of an embrace you did not ask for. A polished bronze mirror is angled before you. The face staring back is yours, yet not yours. Regal, draped in velvet and fur, eyes shadowed by the responsibility that has already begun to settle upon your brow. A third attendant enters, carrying a tray of food. The scent reaches you before you see it, rich, mouth-watering, almost too sweet for the early hour. They place the tray upon a low table by your seat near the hearth. Fresh white bread, crust dusted lightly with flour, still warm from the castle ovens. A small dish of salted butter flecked with herbs. Roasted pork sliced thin, glistening with spiced honey glaze. A goblet of mulled wine, fragrant with cloves, cinnamon, and orange peel. Nearby, a small bowl overflows with dried figs and dates, fruits brought by caravan from distant lands, traded for silver and cloth along dangerous routes lined with thieves and warlords. Each piece of food is a triumph of trade and power, placed at your table without fanfare. You pick up a slice of bread. The crust yields beneath your fingers, soft and warm. You tear off a piece and press it lightly to your lips, but your appetite falters. Beyond the quiet warmth of this room, beyond the thick walls of carved stone, waits a world demanding your decisions. You place the bread back down and let your gaze wander across the room. The tapestries embroidered with scenes of hunts and battles, the iron sconces holding flickering beeswax candles, the cold stone floor half covered with woven rugs dyed in deep crimson and gold. A faint knock sounds at the chamber door. A voice murmurs beyond the threshold. Your chief steward enters with a bow so deep his spine curves like a sapling bent by the wind. "My liege," he says softly, "your counsel awaits." You breathe in. The warm scents of wine and roasted pork remain in the air, but you taste only the metallic edge of duty on your tongue. Rising from your chair, you feel the robe shift and settle on your shoulders, fur brushing your neck, velvet falling heavily down your arms. The attendants move swiftly to adjust the hem so it does not drag upon the rush-strewn floor. Every movement is silent choreography, practiced countless times. The steward turns and leads you through the arched doorway, out into the echoing stone corridor. Cold air slips beneath your robe, winding around your ankles as you walk. Tall stained glass windows cast patterned light onto the flagstones, where your footsteps tap in quiet rhythm. Servants flatten themselves against the walls as you pass, their eyes cast down to the floor. Some murmur blessings under their breath. Others remain silent, lips tight with fear or fatigue. You pass beneath carved arches, past iron candelabras holding dozens of flickering tapers. The scent of tallow and beeswax mingles with the faint sharpness of cold stone. As you approach the council chamber, you hear muted voices within, advisors and lords murmuring among themselves, their words dropping away when they hear your footsteps nearing the door. The steward pushes the heavy oak door open. The room beyond is bright with morning light, illuminating polished oak tables laid with scrolls, seals, and ledgers. Around them stand your counselors, men and women draped in wool and fur, chain of office resting upon their shoulders, eyes shadowed with anticipation. They bow low in unison as you enter. "My liege," intones the chancellor, voice echoing in the silent chamber, "we await your wisdom." You pause upon the threshold. The weight of your robe settles against your shoulders like the invisible burden of crowns past. You draw in a slow breath, the scent of parchment and ink filling your lungs. Outside these walls, the kingdom stirs to life. Peasants hitching oxen to plows, millers grinding wheat, children gathering firewood in the dim half-light of dawn. They are waiting for your decisions, though they will never see your face. They will only feel the ripples of choices made here. Taxes raised or lowered, justice granted or denied, wars begun or ended. For a moment, you imagine slipping away, walking back through the stone corridors, unbinding your robes, stepping barefoot onto the rush mats and curling back beneath silk sheets, letting the world spin on without you. But there is no such freedom for a ruler. You step forward into the chamber, your footsteps muffled by woven carpets dyed in imperial blues and golds. The doors close softly behind you, sealing you within your duties for another day. And though the morning light is bright and the hearth fire burns warm, a chill lingers at the edges of your thoughts. The knowledge that each hour will demand more than you wish to give, and that the burden of command is a weight no robe of velvet and fur can ever truly soften. You exhale slowly, letting your breath settle your chest. You raise your head, and you begin. Your voice sounds calm as you greet each council member, though inside, your stomach coils tighter with every bowed head. They murmur their titles and duties in soft tones: Chancellor, Marshal, Treasurer, Chaplain. Their eyes flicking up to read your face before dropping again in obedience. You seat yourself at the high-backed oak chair, draped with ermine fur, its cold carved arms pressing against your elbows, reminding you of where you sit and what you must do. A servant pours wine into a silver goblet by your hand. You notice how his fingers tremble, how carefully he keeps his eyes on the polished flagstones. You wonder if he knows about the sentence you will give today, or if his fear is simply the daily knowledge that a king's displeasure could end his life as swiftly as the snuffing of a candle. The chancellor begins, unrolling a vellum scroll with deliberate precision. The parchment crackles in the hush of the room. "My liege, we begin with a matter of theft in the village of Winmere. A peasant named Thorn has been accused of stealing a loaf of barley bread from the baker's stall. Witnesses claim he fled into the woods when pursued." You feel a prickle of cold creep down your spine. Theft, bread, the simplest of crimes, the oldest of hungers. You imagine the man's calloused fingers closing around the loaf, its crust still warm from the oven, its weight promising one evening of relief from starvation. You imagine him running, heart pounding in terror and triumph, clutching that single meal against his chest, as though it were life itself. "What does the law require?" you ask softly, though you already know. "Death by hanging, my liege," the chancellor replies without pause. His voice is clear, untroubled. Such is the customary punishment for theft of bread within market bounds. The council members stand silent, eyes lowered. The air in the chamber feels suddenly thin. You look at the polished surface of the table, seeing your reflection swim and waver in the grain of oak, the reflection of a ruler who must decide if a man dies today because he dared to be hungry. "Bring him to me," you say, voice still quiet. Moments later, guards escort in a thin, rag-wrapped figure. Dirt clings to his hair and beard in tangled clumps. His eyes, wide and red-rimmed, dart around the chamber, taking in the stone walls, the robed counselors, the iron-shod guards, and finally you, seated above them all. He falls to his knees before you so hard his bones knock against the flagstones with a dull crack. His voice breaks as he speaks. "My lord, my king, I beg you. I have 5 children. My wife, she is ill. We had no bread for 3 days. I meant no disrespect. Please, please." His words dissolve into hoarse sobs. Tears carve channels through the grime on his cheeks. His shoulders quake under his tattered cloak. You see the bone-thin wrists, the hollows beneath his eyes, the desperation that makes a man risk death for a crust of bread. The chancellor clears his throat, the subtle sound of impatience echoing. You glance at him. His face is neutral, but you see the tightness around his mouth. The council wants efficiency, swift justice to maintain order. They want your ruling, not your pity. You inhale, feeling the tightness of your robes against your ribs. Your heartbeat echoes in your ears, drowning out the faint crackle of the hearth. If you pardon him, what message does it send? That theft is forgiven if one is desperate enough? Will bakers in Winmere fear to sell bread at all, knowing it may be snatched without consequence? Or will they fear you more, knowing that their law is not absolute? But if you condemn him, you kill not just this man, but starve his children in the process. What king would do such a thing? You close your eyes for a moment. The chamber falls utterly silent. Even the fire seems to still its hiss and pop. When you open your eyes, you see the man still kneeling, forehead pressed to the cold stone floor, his tears darkening the gray surface beneath him. "Release him," you say at last, your voice steady though your heart races. "The bread is paid from my stores, and send 2 sacks of grain to his family. But mark this, if he steals again, the law will claim him." You hear the ripple of breath through the chamber, relief from some, tension from others. The guards lift the man to his feet, and though he collapses once, they hold him upright. His eyes meet yours for one fleeting moment, and in them you see something like worship. Or perhaps it is simply disbelief. He is led away. The door closes behind him. Silence reigns. The chancellor clears his throat again. "Next, my liege, a matter of treason." Your fingers tighten on the carved armrest. Treason. Such a simple word, concealing so many shadows. The marshal steps forward, bronze chain clinking against his chest. "Sir Gerard of Rannoch is charged with conspiring with the southern dukes to overthrow your crown. Witnesses testify to secret meetings, oaths of loyalty sworn under cover of darkness, arms purchased from border smiths. We have him in the dungeon. He requests audience." You nod. The chamber doors open once more. This time, armored guards enter, flanking a tall figure in torn silks, chains clinking from his wrists and ankles. His hair is matted with sweat, but his chin remains high. His eyes, cold, clear gray, lock onto yours with a defiance that sends a chill across your chest. He kneels slowly, deliberately, metal links scraping the floor. His voice is calm, almost gentle. "My king, I denied these charges. I have only ever served Rannoch and the realm." His gaze does not waver. There is no pleading in it, no tears, only challenge and certainty. You sense the tension rise in the room. The chancellor watches you from beneath lowered lashes. The marshal shifts his weight, armored plates whispering. They await your decision. You remember Sir Gerard's loyalty on the battlefield seasons ago, when he rallied the left flank against the river ambush. You remember his laughter in the feast hall, his skill at the hunt, the scar across his cheek from the boar he felled to protect your steward. But loyalty bends when ambition rises. If he plots against you, to spare him would be suicide. If he is innocent, to condemn him would be murder. Your chest feels tight. You realize you have not taken a full breath in many moments. You inhale, steadying your voice. Do you swear upon your life and soul you speak truth? You ask quietly. He meets your gaze, unblinking. I do, my king. You study his face for long moments. The council remains utterly still, watching the invisible scales in your mind tilt one way, then the other. At last, you nod to the marshal. Hold him in confinement, you say. Bring all evidence before me tomorrow. If proof is given, he will hang. If not, he will walk free. You feel their disappointment ripple through the chamber. They wanted blood today. But you will not spill blood without certainty. Your steward bows. The morning petitions are concluded, my liege. Your midday prayers await. You rise slowly, every joint aching beneath the weight of your robes, your crown, your choices. As the council files out, the chamber falls silent once more. Only the distant toll of the chapel bell echoes through the stone halls. You breathe in the scent of candle wax and cold ash and think of the peasants' tears, the night's defiance, the bread you could not swallow. Outside these walls, the world turns. Fields glisten with dew beneath the gray morning sky. Smoke rises from cottage chimneys, and somewhere, far beyond the castle gates, a woman kneels in her cottage, giving thanks that her children will eat tonight, never knowing the heaviness of mercy, the cost of a king's compassion. You let out a long, quiet sigh and walk from the chamber into the dim corridor beyond, where the flickering torchlight casts your shadow upon the stone walls, stretching long and thin like the burden of all your tomorrows. Your footsteps echo down the corridor as you follow your steward towards the chapel. The halls are lit only by flickering wall torches now, their golden light casting long, uncertain shadows across the tapestries. You pass woven scenes of old kings at war, queens at prayer, and saints holding golden halos aloft like shields against the world's darkness. The woven faces seem to watch you as you walk by, their eyes soft yet heavy with knowing. At the chapel doors, the steward bows low and steps aside. 2 guards push open the carved oak panels, and you step into a chamber scented with beeswax and frankincense. Candles flicker along the stone altar, their tiny flames trembling in the dawn chill. Stained glass windows spill colored light across the floor. Ruby red, deep sapphire, emerald green, a living jewel garden beneath your feet. You kneel upon the cushioned prie-dieu. The wood creaks softly beneath your knees, and your robe pools around you like quiet water. For a moment, you simply breathe in the scent of burning resin and melting wax, feeling the cold stone seeping through the wooden prayer stand into your bones. You close your eyes, pressing your palms together. Words come slowly, quietly, from a place beyond thought. Forgive me for my judgments. Guide me to rule with wisdom. Spare this kingdom from hunger and plague. Spare me from pride. Your voice is a whisper only the flickering candle flames can hear. Behind you, the chaplain stands silent, robes rustling faintly as he bows his head in prayer alongside you. You hear his breath, steady and calm. You wonder if his prayers match yours, or if he whispers different petitions, for safety, for favor, for the grace to remain in your good standing another day. When you rise, your knees ache. 2 pages hurry to adjust your robe so it does not drag across the chapel's rush-strewn floor. The chaplain murmurs blessings as he leads you back down the nave, his voice echoing off cold stone pillars. As you emerge into the corridor once more, the morning light has shifted. Thin silver beams filter through the narrow windows, illuminating motes of dust in their pale glow. Your steward greets you at the door. "My liege," he says, voice lowered. "The envoy from Westmarch awaits in your solar." You nod, and together you walk down the long corridor towards your private chambers. The walls here are draped with tapestries of softer scenes, gardens blooming with lilies, hunting parties in the summer woods, children chasing bright-plumed birds through castle courtyards. But today, you barely see them. Your mind is already at the meeting ahead. At your solar door, the guards bow and open it wide. Within, morning light streams through tall glass windows set with tiny leaded panes. The hearth burns low, crackling softly, its warmth seeping into the rush mats that cover the floor. A small round table is set near the window, laid with fresh fruit, candied nuts, and a pitcher of watered wine. The envoy rises as you enter. He is tall, wrapped in dark wool lined with fox fur, hair streaked with gray at the temples. He bows deeply, pressing his fist to his chest in salute. "My liege," he intones, voice smooth and deep. "I bring greetings from King Seretic of Westmarch. He hopes this day finds you strong in health and spirit." You incline your head, gesturing for him to sit. You take your seat opposite, feeling the wooden chair creak beneath your weight. The steward pours wine into 2 silver goblets and steps back, folding his hands discreetly before him. The envoy lifts his cup, but does not drink. His gray eyes remain fixed on yours. King Seretic seeks to strengthen the bonds between your kingdoms. He begins carefully. He proposes a marriage alliance. His eldest son, Prince Alaric, has reached manhood. He would wed your daughter, Lady Eleanor, uniting our lands against the northern tribes. The words settle in the air like falling ash. You feel the silence that follows, heavy, expectant. Your chest tightens slightly. Eleanor, your child. You think of her laughing by the fountain last spring, dark hair tumbling over her shoulders as she scattered breadcrumbs for the doves. You remember her sleeping beside the fire on winter nights, clutching her favorite woolen doll with its frayed blue ribbon. She is 14. Prince Alaric is 27. You breathe in slowly, tasting the sharp tang of the watered wine as you sip. Its warmth slides down your throat, pooling hot in your chest. You set the goblet down with careful precision. "What dowry does King Seretic seek?" you ask, keeping your voice steady. The envoy bows his head slightly, acknowledging your understanding of the unspoken exchange. Land along the western river border, 20 miles of good farmland and trade rights through your southern passes. You feel the council's presence even now, though they are not in this room. Their whispered fears of northern raids, their insistence that you must strengthen alliances, their silent reminders that a daughter is a bridge between kingdoms, not merely a child to be protected. The envoy continues, speaking of peace treaties, grain tariffs, and joint patrols along disputed lands. His words wash over you, measured and careful, each syllable shaped like a polished stone. But in your mind, you see Eleanor standing beneath the old pear tree last summer, plucking a single green fruit and laughing as its sour juice ran down her chin. You wonder if Prince Alaric will ever make her laugh like that. You wonder if it matters. "My king," the envoy says softly, interrupting your thoughts. "Shall I carry your blessing for this union to my liege?" You inhale, feeling the velvet collar of your robe press against your throat. The fabric feels suddenly heavy, as though woven from lead rather than silk and fur. You look out the window, where beyond the frost-rimmed glass, morning mist curls around the castle's stone towers. Far below, the rooftops of the village huddle against the rising dawn. Eleanor's marriage will bring peace. It will keep your people safe. It will secure your borders for another generation. It is the right choice, the only choice. And yet, you feel a quiet ache unfold within you, gentle as a wound that bleeds without pain. Tell King Seretic, you say at last, voice calm and unbroken, that his proposal honors us. I will send formal acceptance within the week. The envoy bows deeply, relief flickering across his face. He murmurs words of gratitude, of loyalty and friendship between great houses, but you barely hear him. Your thoughts have drifted down to the small solar garden below your window, where the frost glitters along empty stone benches. You imagine Eleanor walking there, wrapped in a wool cloak, her breath clouding in the morning air. You imagine her tears tonight when you tell her. You imagine her future, and you pray she learns to find gentleness within it. The envoy departs with graceful courtesy, and the steward closes the door softly behind him. Alone, you rise from your chair and stand by the window. The glass is cold beneath your fingertips. Outside, the sun is climbing higher, pale and thin against the winter sky. Smoke rises from village chimneys. The fields lie quiet, stripped bare for winter. You rest your forehead lightly against the glass and close your eyes. Somewhere beyond the forests and rivers, a different dawn is breaking. A dawn where you are no king or queen, where no life depends upon your choices, where no child is married for peace. But that is not this world. This world holds you here, velvet robes heavy upon your shoulders, crown waiting upon its carved stand, heart weighed down by love twisted into duty. You take a long, slow breath, open your eyes to the pale winter light, and turn away. The afternoon light has shifted by the time you return to the heart of your fortress. The corridors seem longer now, though you know their turns and shadows, like the lines of your own palm. Servants press themselves against the walls as you pass, heads lowered, lips whispering blessings under their breath, half prayer, half fear. Somewhere, a hound barks in the courtyard below, sharp and distant, then falls silent. You pause for a moment by an arched window that looks down over the training yard. Below, armored men drill in formation, boots churning the packed earth to mud beneath the winter sun. You watch as the captain bellows orders, the clash of swords and the muffled thud of wooden shields echoing faintly up to where you stand. For a heartbeat, you imagine trading places, feeling the weight of iron in your hand, the clean sting of sweat on your brow, fighting not with words and scrolls and quiet threats, but with steel you can see and feel. But the moment drifts away like smoke. You turn from the window, and the captain below shouts another command you do not hear. Your steward waits by the heavy doors of the great hall. He bows low as you approach. The massive oak doors swing open at his signal, groaning on iron hinges, revealing a world awash in golden candlelight and flickering hearths. Inside, the hall is alive with warmth and motion. Rushes are strewn fresh across the stone floor, fragrant with rosemary and sweet hay. Torches blaze in their brackets along the walls, painting long shadows that dance over carved pillars and high timber beams. Tapestries ripple faintly in the draft. A hunt here, a battle there, a saint fending off demons stitched in crimson and gold thread. At the far end, a trestle table runs beneath a raised dais, laid out with gleaming silver platters and polished goblets. Already, your guests gather near the hearths, lords and ladies draped in heavy wool and velvet, bright jewels glittering at throat and wrist. Laughter echoes under the beams, though it softens when you enter, replaced by bows, curtsies, murmured greetings thick with politeness. You feel each gaze on your shoulders as you walk the length of the hall. Each pair of eyes measures you. Your step, your expression, the tilt of your head, the set of your mouth. They read your moods as carefully as any monk deciphers scripture. Here, a raised brow can open old wounds. A smile withheld can spark weeks of whispered rumors. A servant steps forward and lifts the crown from a velvet cushion. Its cold weight settles on your brow with familiar finality, more binding than iron shackles, heavier than the mail worn by the knights drilling in the yard. Another servant draws out your chair at the center of the high table. You lower yourself onto it, the carved arms pressing against your robes. You breathe out, slow, steady. The hall fills as more nobles arrive, their laughter swelling again, layered with the softer undercurrent of secrets traded in corners. Minstrels tune their lutes by the fire, the first gentle pluck of strings threading through the murmured talk like spun gold. Servants appear from the kitchen doors, carrying platters high above their shoulders. The smells reach you first, rich and sharp and sweet all at once. Roast venison glazed with wine and herbs, pies stuffed with eel and river trout, fresh loaves, their crusts flaked with sea salt, butter gleaming at the edges, bowls of sugared plums, figs stuffed with almonds, pastries shaped like doves. The first dish is placed before you. A roasted peacock, feathers dyed and pinned back into its tail to mimic life, its meat hidden beneath a crust of saffron and spices. You can hear a murmur ripple down the tables at the sight of it, see eyes flick from the bird to you, as though this single extravagant fowl might signal the prosperity or the ruin of your reign. You pick up the knife laid by your plate, its handle inlaid with polished jet. You carve a careful slice. The meat is tender, its scent rich and earthy. You place it on the gilded trencher before you. For a moment you consider tasting it, imagining the burst of salt, the warmth of wine-soaked flesh. But your stomach clenches instead. Too many voices ring in your head. The peasant's hollow eyes, your daughter's distant laughter beneath the pear tree. The food turns to stone on your tongue. A steward discreetly lifts your plate, replacing it with another, pigeon pie this time, crust dusted with caraway seeds. You take a sip of wine instead, letting the warmth bloom behind your ribs, hoping it will quiet the restless turning in your thoughts. Down the tables, your lords and ladies eat heartily, laughter rolling out in gentle waves, punctuated by bursts of sharp gossip. You catch scraps, someone's cousin caught stealing timber from royal woods, a baron's youngest son found drunk in the orchard, singing prayers backward to frighten the nuns. Their troubles, so small beside your own, yet each one a seed that might take root and twist into something darker if ignored. A jester darts between the benches, bells jingling at his cap's edge. He balances a silver goblet on his head, crossing his eyes to make a child near the hearth squeal with glee. When he glances at you, his grin flickers for the briefest moment, then brightens again, teeth flashing as he tumbles away toward safer laughter. You raise your goblet in polite toast when someone calls your name from down the table. A young lord with a hawk pin at his collar leans forward, voice warm with too much wine. He asks about your plans for spring. Will there be a new hunt? A tournament, perhaps? You nod. You smile. You promise them there will be feasts, games, prizes, anything to keep their minds busy, their ambitions tangled in harmless pleasures rather than conspiracies whispered in candlelit chambers. A song begins. The minstrels play softly at first, a ballad of a knight who rides through dusk to rescue a maiden from a tower of stone. The notes rise and fall, sweet as honey poured into warm milk. Your eyes drift across the hall as your people sway to the tune, voices low, faces half lit by firelight. For a moment, you almost let the warmth carry you, almost imagine you are like them. Your only duty tonight to fill your cup in your belly before sleep claims you. But there is no forgetting. Even as you lean back, the cup resting loose in your fingers, you feel it, the undercurrent beneath the music and the laughter, the watchful glances, the careful calculations. Every toast is weighed for hidden meaning. Every compliment carries the shadow of a request. The peacock's bones lie bare now, its glittering feathers drooping, where the heat from the braziers curls them at the tips. Somewhere nearby, a hound whines beneath the table, hoping for scraps that never fall. The sweetness of the wine sits heavy on your tongue. Someone lifts a fresh cup to you, to long life, good harvests, strong airs. Their words ring out, echoed by dozens more. You lift your cup and answer, mouth shaping the thank you they want, the reassurance they crave. They cannot see the tightness behind your smile, the cold knot at the base of your throat. To them, you are warmth and power, promise and protection. Their liege lord, their sovereign, their shield. Your gaze slips beyond them, past the flickering torches, to the tall windows that show only darkness beyond the glass. Somewhere out there, in the hush between the trees, the world turns without feasts or songs. Somewhere beyond the firelight, your people sleep beneath rough blankets, the honest hush of hunger and work their only worry. A hush you almost envy, here among silks and jeweled cups. The music swells. Laughter brightens again. A servant bows low beside your chair, asking softly if you wish another course. You shake your head. The crown presses cold against your brow as you lean back in your carved chair, your breath hidden behind the golden cup, your thoughts drifting far beyond this hall, into the dark woods where truth moves quiet as wolves beneath the moon. The feast dwindles as night deepens, its warmth giving way to a quiet chill that creeps through the thick stone walls. Servants clear away platters now picked clean to bone and crumb. Minstrels pack their lutes and pipes, moving silently through the archways like shadows with shapes. Your guests depart in clusters of flickering candlelight and murmured farewells, voices hushed by wine and fatigue. A final toast is made in your honor, words slurred yet heavy with devotion and fear, and then the great hall is yours alone, echoing with emptiness. Your steward approaches, head bowed. "My liege," he says softly, "your chamber is prepared." You nod without words. Rising slowly, you feel the ache settle into your shoulders, your knees, your spine. The crown is lifted from your head by careful hands. Its weight lingers even when it is gone, a phantom pressure against your temples. The fur-lined robe is drawn from your shoulders. Its warmth is replaced by the cool hush of midnight air. The steward leads you through torchlit corridors. Flames dance along damp stone walls, their wavering light illuminating carvings of dragons and lions locked in eternal battle. You walk in silence, each step muffled by woven rush mats. Your attendants trail behind, their feet as soft as ghosts upon the floor. You pass an arched window set high in the keep wall. Moonlight falls through its diamond panes, painting silver patterns on your path. Beyond the glass, the world lies wrapped in quiet. Frost glimmers on slate rooftops below, and thin curls of smoke rise from dying hearth fires. Farther still, black forest shadows ripple under the ghostly glow, dark branches sighing in the wind. Somewhere in that vast quiet, an owl calls, soft and solitary, before silence returns to claim the night. Your chamber doors stand tall before you, carved with swirling knotwork and iron inlays. 2 guards push them open. You step inside. Here, the air is warm again, scented with beeswax and lavender oil. A fire burns low in the hearth, its glow casting long shadows that waver across heavy oak beams. Tall candles flicker on wall sconces, their light reflecting in gilded mirrors set between tapestries. At the far end of the chamber, your bed awaits. A massive structure of dark carved wood, its posts thick as tree trunks, draped in crimson velvet lined with sable fur. Attendants move quietly around you. They loosen the laces of your tunic and unbuckle the stiff leather girdle. Heavy fabrics are lifted away, leaving you in a long linen shirt that brushes your calves, its simple weave a relief against your skin after the coarse grandeur of royal garb. You feel your shoulders drop, as if the night itself presses them downwards. The steward gestures towards the table by the hearth. Upon it sits a silver pitcher of warmed spiced wine, steam curling in delicate threads, and a small plate of honey cakes. You sip the wine. Its sweetness blooms in your mouth, mingling with the faint bite of cloves and cinnamon. You set it down after one taste, throat too tight to swallow more. One by one, your attendants bow and slip from the room, leaving you in hushed solitude. Only the steward remains, folding back the heavy covers of your bed. The sheets within are pale cream linen, smooth and faintly scented with lavender. He bows deeply. May God keep you through the night, my liege. You incline your head in silent reply. His footsteps fade beyond the door. The iron latch falls with a quiet click. Silence settles around you, as dense as falling snow. You walk to the window, set into the thick castle wall. Its small diamond panes are rippled with age, distorting the moon beyond into a silver blur. You press your fingertips against the glass. The cold seeps through your skin and into your bones. Outside, the world is quiet. The kingdom sleeps beneath its blanket of frost, unaware that their ruler stands wakeful and alone in a chamber heavy with warmth and shadows. Your gaze drifts across the room, to the carved chest holding royal seals and ledgers, to the polished stand where your crown rests upon dark velvet, its jewels catching the firelight and sparking with tiny stars, to the iron-bound door beyond which guards stand vigilant, their spears bright beneath torch flames. You think of the day just ended, of the peasant who wept upon your floor, forgiven for stealing bread his family needed to survive, of Sir Gerard, defiant in his chains, awaiting judgment that might take his life or restore his honor, of Eleanor, your daughter, betrothed to a man twice her years to ensure peace across a river border she has never seen. Your breath hitches, quiet and sharp. You press a palm against your chest as if to still the aching there. You walk slowly to the bed. The mattress sighs beneath you as you sit, pulling the velvet covers across your lap. The fire crackles softly in the hearth. Shadows flicker and dance along carved beams, chasing each other across old oak and stone. You lie down, folding yourself into the warmth of furs and linen. The pillow cradles your head with silent welcome. Your eyes close, heavy with exhaustion. yet sleep does not come. Thoughts drift through your mind, flickering like candle flames in the dark. You think of your people sleeping in cottages roofed with straw, huddled around guttering hearths, wrapped in blankets that smell of smoke and earth. You think of their dreams, simple hopes for spring plantings, for healthy lambs, for bread that does not run out before winter's end. You wonder what they would think, knowing that their sovereign lies awake tonight, heavy-hearted within walls of carved oak and golden tapestry. Your eyes flutter open to watch the flames in the hearth. Their quiet glow pools upon the rush mats and gilded floor tiles. Upon your hands resting limp upon the covers, you notice the lines upon your knuckles, the pale crescent scars you carry, small reminders of training swords, hunting knives, years spent learning to hold power before you truly understood its cost. Outside the window, wind whispers along the battlements, rattling an old shutter somewhere down the hall. The owl calls again, softer this time, as if even its wild certainty grows weary before dawn. You let out a slow breath. Your chest rises and falls. Beneath the linen, your heart beats steady and tired. You think of tomorrow, of judgments still to give, of petitions still to hear, of councils and oaths and taxes and lands and laws, of the hundreds of silent eyes that will look upon you for answers you may never truly possess. Your lids grow heavier. The flicker of fire becomes a blur of golden haze. The last thing you see before darkness claims you is your crown upon its stand by the window, bathed in moonlight. It glitters cold and silent in the quiet chamber, a circle of gold and jewels forged by hands long dead, worn by souls now dust beneath earth and stone. You think, as sleep begins to pull you under, perhaps tomorrow I will wake and this will all be a dream. Perhaps I will wake in a simple bed beneath a thatched roof. Perhaps I will wake as no one at all. And the thought soothes you, like warm wine poured into weary veins. You let go of breath. You let go of thought. The world recedes into gentle quiet. The fire sighs its last glow. The frost creeps silently across rooftops and towers. And your kingdom sleeps beneath moonlight and stars, beneath your silent watch, beneath the weight of all you are. You drift, then, into a darkness soft and deep, where even kings and queens lay down their crowns, and where for a few quiet hours you belong to no one but sleep itself. The night deepens beyond your chamber window. Frost feathers the diamond panes, glowing silver beneath the last sliver of moonlight. Somewhere in the quiet distance, a church bell tolls softly for the midnight hour. Its echoes drift across rooftops and stone towers, fading into the hush of sleeping lands. You lie still beneath your velvet covers, feeling the warmth gathered around your chest, your shoulders, your tired limbs. The weight of the day eases, uncoiling from your thoughts like mist melting beneath the rising sun. You sense the silence pressing close around you, a silence so vast and deep it almost seems to hold you, as if the world itself has wrapped gentle arms around your weary body. For tonight, your judgments are set aside. Your people sleep beyond the castle walls, the fires banked low in cottages roofed with straw, children curled against mothers, men breathing heavily after long hours in frozen fields. Even your advisors rest now, their schemes and duties abandoned upon wooden desks until dawn returns. Here, in this quiet darkness, you are no ruler. No crown presses upon your brow. No robe binds your shoulders. You are simply a beating heart, a mind drifting upon the soft tide of sleep, a soul unburdened for these few gentle hours. You breathe out slowly, feeling your chest soften with each sigh. Your thoughts drift to simpler things: the hush of snow falling in the courtyard, the way the hearth crackles in the silent hours before dawn, the scent of lavender oil upon your pillow. And somewhere, beneath all that, a small hope flickers like a hidden candle flame, that tomorrow, when you wake and bear the world again, you will do so with quiet strength, that your choices will shape the lives of many with fairness, that your burdens, though heavy, will be carried with grace. For now, though, there is only sleep, deep, warm, endless sleep. You let your eyes close, you let the candlelight fade, and in the silent dark of your royal chamber, the world melts away until only your gentle breath remains, carrying you softly into dreams where, for a little while, there is no throne, no fear, no duty, only peace. Good night.